Slide 18, Elements 7 and 8, Shipboard Operations and Emergency Preparedness. In the previous section, we discussed resources and personnel. We now move to Elements 7 and 8 of the ISM Code. Element 7 deals with shipboard operations. The company must identify all key operations that affect safety and pollution prevention and establish procedures for carrying them out safely. These procedures are usually supported by risk assessments, checklists, standard operating procedures, permits to work, standing orders, and logbook records. Element 8 deals with emergency preparedness. The company must identify potential emergency situations that may occur on board and establish procedures to respond effectively. Regular drills and exercises must be conducted so that crew members can react quickly and correctly during an actual emergency. During an audit, evidence such as drill records, contingency plans, emergency duty lists, and equipment readiness records will be verified. The fundamental purpose of these two elements is to reduce human error and standardize responses across the fleet. Slide 19, Element 9, Reporting of Non-Conformities, Accidents, and Hazardous Occurrences. Element 9 establishes the reporting and learning system within the safety management system. Whenever a non-conformity, accident, hazardous occurrence, or near miss occurs, it must be reported according to company procedures. The report should then be investigated and analyzed to determine why the event happened. The findings may result in corrective actions, changes to procedures, additional training, or other preventive measures. A very important requirement introduced through amendments is that the company must establish procedures to prevent recurrence. Near-miss reporting is particularly valuable because it allows lessons to be learned before an actual accident occurs. During audits, auditors verify not only whether reports exist, but also whether corrective actions were effectively implemented and closed out. Slide 20, Element 10, Maintenance of Ship and Equipment. Element 10 is one of the most frequently examined topics in MEO Class 1 orals. The company must establish procedures to ensure that the ship is maintained in conformity with applicable regulations and company requirements. Maintenance is generally controlled through a Planned Maintenance System, or PMS. The PMS incorporates class requirements, statutory requirements, company instructions, and manufacturer's recommendations. Regular inspections, superintendent visits, company audits, and class surveys help verify maintenance effectiveness. Defects must be reported promptly and followed until rectification is completed. Special attention must be given to critical equipment whose failure could create dangerous situations. Slide 21, Critical Equipment Identification, FMEA and FMECA. One of the key requirements under Element 10 is identifying critical equipment. A commonly used method is Failure Mode and Effects Analysis, or FMEA. FMEA studies how equipment can fail, the effects of those failures, and methods to prevent them or mitigate them. FMECA stands for Failure Mode, Effects, and Criticality Analysis. It goes a step further by ranking failures according to their criticality and risk level. Typical critical equipment include emergency generators, emergency fire pumps, steering gear systems, batteries, and other equipment essential for safety and pollution prevention. The objective is to ensure contingency measures are available if these systems fail. Slide 22, Documentation. Documentation is the backbone of every safety management system. The ISM Code requires documents to be controlled, approved, updated, and readily available where needed. Every controlled document should have revision numbers and approval records. When revisions occur, obsolete documents must be removed to avoid confusion. A useful distinction to remember is that a blank checklist is a controlled document, while a completed checklist becomes a record. During audits, document control procedures, filing systems, revision status, and record management are carefully checked. Slide 23, Management of Change, MOC.
Management of change, commonly called MOC, is closely linked to Element 11. MOC is the formal process used to assess risks associated with significant changes. Changes may involve equipment, operational practices, organizational structures, flag changes, class transfers, or installation of new systems. The purpose is to ensure that no unacceptable risks are introduced because of the change. A risk assessment must be conducted whenever an MOC process is initiated. However, if an established procedure already exists for handling the change, a separate MOC may not be necessary. The key principle is simple. Whenever change introduces new risk, the risk must be assessed and controlled. Slide 24. Company Verification, Review, and Evaluation. Element 12 focuses on continuous improvement. The company must periodically verify whether the safety management system is functioning effectively. This is achieved through internal audits and management reviews. Internal audits normally take place at intervals not exceeding 12 months. Audit findings are discussed with responsible personnel and corrective actions are tracked until closure. Management reviews evaluate overall SMS performance using information from audits, inspections, incidents, KPIs, master's reviews, PSC reports, and other feedback. The objective is improvement, not blame. Slide 25. Certification and Audits, Introduction. We now move to one of the most important examination topics, certification and audits. This section explains the document of compliance, the safety management certificate, audit types, audit cycles, verification requirements, and non-conformity handling. Understanding this section thoroughly is essential because many oral examination questions are based on certification procedures and audit requirements.
Slide 26. DOC and SMC Overview. The Document of Compliance, or DOC, is issued to the company. It confirms that the company's shore-based safety management system complies with the ISM Code. The DOC is normally valid for 5 years and undergoes annual verification. The SMC is issued to each ship. It confirms that the ship is operating in accordance with the approved safety management system. The SMC is also valid for 5 years, but requires an intermediate verification between the 2nd and 3rd anniversary dates. Remember, DOC belongs to the company, SMC belongs to the ship. Slide 27. Relationship between DOC and SMC. The DOC and SMC are directly linked. The company holds the original DOC, while the ship holds the original SMC and a copy of the DOC. The ship type stated on the SMC must correspond to the ship type covered by the DOC. The company name on both certificates must also match exactly. Any discrepancy between the two certificates may result in serious audit findings or even port state control detention. This is a favorite oral examination question, so remember the relationship clearly. Slide 28. Certificates auditor will first verify. At the beginning of an audit, the auditor usually verifies statutory certificates. These include the DOC, SMC, ISSC, MLC certificate, and financial security certificates. SOLAS certificates such as safety construction, safety equipment, safety radio, and load line certificates are checked. MARPOL certificates including IOPP, IAPP, ISPP, IEEC, and BWM certificates are verified. The auditor will also review crew certificates, safe manning documents, PMS records, oil record books, garbage records, and critical equipment test records. A valid safety management system cannot exist if statutory certification is not maintained. Slide 29. Interim DOC and Initial DOC. An interim DOC may be issued when a new company is established, when a new ship type is added, or during major organizational restructuring. It is normally valid for up to 12 months. The company must demonstrate that a safety management system implementation plan exists, a DPA has been appointed,
resources are available, and safety objectives comply with the ISM code. For an initial DOC, the SMS must have normally been implemented for at least 3 months. Internal audits and management reviews must have been completed, and corrective actions must have been addressed. Before we continue with the audit procedures and certification requirements, if you are finding this ISM code series useful for your MEO Class 1 preparation, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. A lot of effort goes into preparing IMO-based, examination-oriented content that is accurate, practical, and easy to understand. Your subscription helps support the channel and ensures that you receive notifications whenever new maritime engineering videos are released. Now let's continue with the remaining certification and audit topics. Slide 30. Annual DOC Audit. During the annual DOC audit, auditors verify the effectiveness of the company's shore-based management system. They review internal audits, management reviews, DPA effectiveness, accident investigations, root cause analyses, corrective action closure, cybersecurity procedures, training records, management of change records, emergency preparedness arrangements, and fleet performance indicators. The purpose is to confirm that the company continues to comply with the ISM code throughout the certificate validity period. Slide 31. Interim DOC and Initial SMC. An interim SMC may be issued to a new ship after a flag change, transfer to a new company, or management takeover. Before issuing the interim SMC, the auditor verifies crew familiarity, manning compliance, certificate validity, PMS availability, emergency preparedness, and audit planning. For an initial SMC, the safety management system must have normally been implemented on board for at least 3 months. Crew members must demonstrate familiarity with SMS procedures and emergency response requirements. Slide 32. Types of audits. Audits can be divided into internal and external audits. Internal audits are conducted by the company to verify SMS effectiveness. External audits are conducted by the administration or a recognized organization acting on behalf of the administration. External audits include interim, initial, annual DOC, intermediate SMC, renewal, surveillance, and additional audits. Intermediate SMC audits are particularly important because failure may invalidate the SMC.
Slide 33. External audit versus internal audit. External audits are conducted by administrations or recognized organizations and may result in certificate issuance or endorsement. Internal audits are conducted by the company and do not result in certification. Instead, they identify deficiencies and opportunities for improvement. External audit findings are reported to the administration, while internal audit findings are reported within the company. Understanding this distinction is important for oral examinations. Slide 34. Additional and surveillance audits. Additional audits are conducted following major non-conformities, PSC detentions, major accidents, serious pollution incidents, or significant SMS changes. Their purpose is to verify that corrective actions have been effectively implemented. Surveillance audits are generally associated with interim DOC situations where full implementation has not yet been achieved. These audits verify progress toward complete compliance. Slide 35. What is audited ashore for DOC? During a DOC audit, the auditor examines shore-based management functions. This includes the DPA, top management commitment, emergency support arrangements, internal audits, root cause analysis, corrective action effectiveness, document control, training systems, crew competency management, emergency preparedness, and cybersecurity management. The auditor must be satisfied that the company can adequately support its ships. Slide 36. What is audited on board for SMC? For SMC audits, attention shifts to on-board implementation. Auditors review PMS records, oil record books, drill records, work and rest hours, permit-to-work systems, defect lists, bunker records, and garbage management records. Physical inspections include critical equipment testing, machinery condition, emergency systems, life-saving appliances, firefighting equipment, and pollution prevention equipment. Crew interviews play a major role in verifying practical implementation. Slide 37, NC and MNC handling. Audit findings are generally categorized as observations, non-conformities, or major non-conformities. An observation identifies a potential weakness. A non-conformity indicates failure to meet a specified requirement. A major non-conformity indicates a serious threat to safety, the environment, or evidence of systematic SMS failure. Major non-conformities can lead to suspension or withdrawal of certificates. Therefore, immediate corrective action is essential. Slide 38, Major Non-Conformity Pathway and PSC Codes. When an MNC is raised, immediate risk mitigation measures must be implemented. The deficiency must be corrected and verified before the MNC can be downgraded to a normal NC. A corrective action plan is then developed, typically under the coordination of the DPA. Additional audits are conducted to verify long-term corrective action effectiveness. Remember that PSC inspectors issue deficiencies, not NCs or MNCs. Only ISM auditors can issue NCs and MNCs. Slide 39, Audit Scope by Scenario. Different situations require different audit actions. For example, a company name change requires verification and reissuance of certificates. Adding a new ship type requires an interim DOC followed by further verification. Minor SMS changes are generally verified during the next scheduled audit. Major SMS changes usually require immediate verification. Understanding these scenarios is useful for practical oral examination questions. Slide 40, Worked Scenario, Missing Bunker Checklist and MNC. Let us conclude this part with a practical audit scenario. Suppose a bunker checklist is missing during an audit. The first action is to demonstrate that bunkering was actually conducted safely using available evidence such as logbooks, bunker delivery notes, fuel analysis reports, declarations of security, risk assessments, toolbox meeting records, photographs, and bunker calculations. However, a missing checklist cannot be recreated after the event. If the finding is downgraded to a normal NC, a root cause analysis must be performed. A corrective action plan is then developed, procedures are revised if necessary, lessons are shared throughout the fleet, and compliance is verified during future audits. This demonstrates the complete ISM improvement cycle: report, investigate, correct, verify, and improve. That brings us to the end of Part 2 of our ISM Code series for MEO Class 1 preparation. In this part, we covered Elements 7 to 12, certification requirements, DOC and SMC audits, audit types, non-conformities, major non-conformities, and practical audit scenarios. In Part 3, we will move into risk assessment, root cause analysis, contingency planning, safety culture, auditors, FSA, KPIs, cyber risk management, and important oral examination strategies. If you found this lecture helpful, please like the video, share it with fellow marine engineers, and subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, subscribe now so that you do not miss Part 3, which contains many high-scoring MEO Class 1 oral examination topics. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best for your MEO Class 1 examination preparation.